This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we have a Whirlpool direct drive washer, Series 70, that is having trouble with no hot water coming in, or very little hot water, just kind of dribbling in. And sometimes this can be caused by just some crud that's built up on the inlet filter, which is really easy to clear out. And sometimes you actually have to replace the fill valve, because the fill valve is worn out and it doesn't open up wide enough to really let water come in anymore. So today we're going to be replacing the fill valve. And again, this is a Whirlpool direct drive washing machine, and this will work for the Series 70, 80, or 90. So we're going to turn off the cold and hot water. It's actually going to be removing the inlet valve, but it actually works for both cold and hot. We're going to use some pliers to spin off the two inlet hoses. Sometimes at this point it would be good to also put in new inlet hoses. These are the rubber ones, which are fine, but the ones with braided metal we think are a little bit better. They're less likely to rupture and have a flooding issue. Pretty cheap, easy to replace. So first thing you can look at when you take off the hose is just look inside the filter at the screen, and if there's a lot of junk in there, you could just wash it out with a spray bottle, maybe an old toothbrush, and just get all the scale and crud out. But again, today we're going to actually be replacing the fill valve. So we've already unplugged the machine, and now we're going to be removing the cold side hose, and then we're going to get into removing the cabinet. So we're going to take off these two trim plates. Just got to pry them off. And then there's two Phillips head screws underneath. They're in at about 45 degrees, so we're just going to zip those out. And then after that, you can lift the whole console, the control panel, up, and it'll hinge back. It's a really neat design. You lift it up, kind of wiggle it around until it comes loose. There we go, hinges out of the way. And then you have these two brass clips you're going to remove. I just removed also the lid switch connector. You just pry up on this brass clip with a standard head screwdriver. And then you can grab the whole cabinet. You open up the lid and just pull the whole cabinet towards you at 45 degrees. And that whole thing comes off. It gives you access to a lot of the parts. Now I'm pulling the modular power connectors off of the fill valve. The one on the bottom is the hot, the one on the top is the cold. And I'm going to take a pair of pliers and I'm going to press in on the spring clamp on the hose that takes water from the valve into the tub. I'm going to pull that spring clamp down, and then I'm going to pull hard on the rubber tube until it comes off. So that's off. Electrical connectors are off. We remove one little screw off of the back, and then the old valve comes out. Here's the old valve. Here's the new one, and this is the part number. These are pretty inexpensive and fairly easy to replace. Get these at Amazon.com. Reliable Parts is a great source. This comes with a little bracket that you can put on before you install it. So you put it on and slide it a little bit to the side, and then you put in a screw to hold it. And the screw comes with the kit. Here's a comparison of the two, the original, and on the left is the new one. And now installation's just basically in reverse order. This also comes with a again, the little screw that holds the bracket on. So we're putting the new one in. Then we'll take a screw and come in from the back side, put it through that hole to hold the fill valve in position. We're putting the electrical connectors back on, the cold one on top, the hot one on the bottom. Just push them on tight. We're going to put the rubber tube back on the new fill valve and then use the pliers to press in and bring it back up over the top of the tube to hold that tube in position. We're going to slide the cabinet back in at 45 degrees, bring the bottom in as far as it'll go, and then let the back come down against the back plate of the washing machine. You pull the plate in towards the front, then you put in those little brass clips again. Pretty cool. They slide in underneath, and then you push down real hard until they click. Really clever design. It's one of my favorite washing machines to repair, and had one of these for 22 years and just did a great job for our house. Put the connector back in for the lid switch, and now we can bring the console back down and put the screws back in. And this is just very carefully screwing the hose back on. Make sure you take your time, and the hose should go on very easily. And then at the end you can use pliers to do a few more turns. But if it's not going on easy, it's called cross-threaded. That means it's coming on at a slight angle. So just pull it back off and try it again until you can screw it on very easily. And then at the end, just use your pliers to give it a little bit more of a turn to get it watertight. You don't have to use a tremendous amount of pressure. When you turn the water back on, if you notice it's dribbling a little bit, you can tighten it slightly more. Be careful though, because you're putting metal onto plastic threads. Here we go. Turn our water back on, check for leaks. Plug it back in. Alright, we're going to let it fill. We'll check the cold and the hot and warm. Make sure it's all working. So hot's flowing in there really good. Before we didn't get anything on hot, now it's great. Warm's the strongest, cold strong. So that did the trick. Hope this has been helpful to you. Pretty easy repair. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.